Now, I struggle to start this video in a way that gives the plot to you, but also doesn't give away the plot to you, because there's this thing that happened with this movie where in the promotional footage, they didn't introduce any of the actual plot of the movie, at least the majority of the movie. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you the actual plot of the movie. I'm going to tell you what actually fucking happens in the movie. And this will be light spoilers ahead. So if you don't want to know what the movie actually is about, and you just want to go off based off what they gave you, be my guest. But here I am to tell you, Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends is now the third installment of the sequel trilogy, basically, if you want to get technical, almost like a Star Wars effect. And it tells the story of Laurie Strode and the events of Halloween Kills 4 years later. Let that sink in. 4 years later. And the majority of this movie is basically the life after the previous movie. Laurie Strode and Allison are just living their lives, trying to be at peace with what has happened in years past, but they are suddenly roped into the events of evil once again when a new person, who is named Corey, now has the town turn against him for some unfortunate circumstances. So was Halloween Ends the enthralling final showdown and conclusion to this franchise, with Jamie Lee Curtis finally facing off against Michael Myers and putting an end to him? Is that what this is? Fuck no! Listen, this movie is fucking abysmal. Like, the last movie before this, I hated. Like, I just think it's terrible, like, to watch. But at least with the last movie, I could laugh at it. There was a bunch of corny shit in the movie where it was like, the guy kept saying, "Evil dies tonight, ah!" And like, that was funny to me. And it was pretty gruesome. And the kills were somewhat in mean spirit, but also, like, if that's what you go for these Halloween movies, I can't blame you, because they actually had some decent kills in those previous two movies. However, when you're promoting the movie as the final showdown between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers doesn't even show up in the movie until probably about an hour in, that doesn't fucking bode well for the rest of the movie. You see, everything about the story makes little to no fucking sense, because why are we doing a time jump in this movie, at least this far ahead? And why are the way people are acting in this movie the way that they are? Like, Laurie and Allison should not be, like, happy-go-lucky and, like, just going on with their lives. Like, they should really be what Laurie was in the first Halloween movie of this trilogy, where she's, like, overly preparing for shit, really depressed and really anxious about the whole situation. Her fucking daughter got stabbed to death in the Myers house in the last movie. You would think that they would do something with that, right? Nope. So Laurie Strode is very underwhelming in this movie. Allison is equally underwhelming in this movie, but she's somehow in the movie even more than her. And also they introduce Corey in this movie that sparks a love interest with Allison. And I can tell you right now, this is the third fucking movie where they had to introduce a love interest of some kind between two young people. And I can firmly tell you right now, that is not why we go see Halloween. That is far from the reason why we go see Halloween. I didn't need it in the first one. I didn't need hints of it in the second one. Damn sure didn't need it in the last one. While they also messed up Laurie Strode's character in this movie early on and then throughout, they then messed up Allison's character early on and then throughout. Then they introduced a rando that we don't give a fuck about. I will say, though, at least the actor is, like, it's a little sincere in the way that things happen to him. Like, the set of ways to make him the villain in this movie at first is not his fault, and it is just bad circumstances. It's just a bunch of bad luck. So he is endearing in that way, but then he gets his, like, ass kicked by a bunch of fucking teens, like freshman looking people, and he's supposed to be, like, in his mid-20s. At least that's what I'm pretty sure the timeline is supposed to be, because he mentions he's 21 at the beginning and then time passes. So it's endearing at first, and then it's frustrating later, because you know for a fact that, like, any 25-year-old or whatever that gets punked by some fucking high schoolers on the side of the street more than once without decking them in the fucking jaw is just, like, inconceivable to think about. So not only is Corey just very much not an interesting character, especially not in this installment of this movie. He did not need to be in this movie. If you wanted to do something with him in this kind of story, this is not the movie to do it in. So that leaves one character left, Michael Myers, they do nothing with him in this movie. Michael Myers has very little to shine with in this movie. The premise of him in this movie and what they actually do with him and other characters is so frustrating and annoying that, like, I wanted to walk out of the movie wholeheartedly, but I couldn't because I knew I had to fucking review it. So when we get to the bottom of the movie, your story's fucked. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis is a great actress. She can't save this movie. She can do all she wants as far as acting her fucking ass off. And while I don't think she's like the greatest actress in the world in this movie, she's good in the movie, don't get me wrong. And I think elements of the actor that played Corey was done well. But when your story is just so, like, it misses the nail every time with the hammer constantly, it's hard to get engaged. And not to mention, David Gordon Green proves yet again why, in these trilogies of the movies, he hasn't had the greatest direction, in my opinion. So not only in the second movie did I complain about the editing of shots, where there's like these weird snap zooms and like turn pans with the zoom, he does it again in the movie, and it somehow looks worse because it's more often. And I just think the whole element of the movie just wasn't handled well. I thought, like, the kills, especially in this movie, there was maybe 1 or 2 kills at best that looked pretty good, at least one for sure. At least that was somewhat interesting, and everything was like really out of focus. So if you're going for kills and you're the kill junkie of like your friend group that watches horror movies and that's all you want to see, you're going to be disappointed in that too. The acting is fine. The story is just horribly written and just underdeveloped in a fucking immense way. Underutilized characters, horrible direction, horrible editing. It's up there with Resurrections, Halloween Resurrections, as the worst movie in the franchise. It is certainly the worst movie since then. And to be honest, like, I anticipated the movie being bad because it also came out on Peacock on the same day, much like last year when that happened. But I was also thinking to myself, Jamie Lee Curtis is in this movie. It's her last time being Laurie Strode. They have to give it their best hurrah. If nothing else, it might be another Halloween 2018 where maybe I'm not the fan of that movie, but other people are fans of it and it's serviceable in the end of the day. This movie was most certainly not. If anything, it set the franchise back yet again. And I've said it before and I'll state it again. They need to stop it with Michael Myers and they need to stop it with Laurie Strode. They'll never do that because it makes too much fucking money. But nevertheless, you know, at least you need to push away from this narrative for a long time. Don't do this anymore with Laurie Strode. Don't try to recast her and create the magic that once was in 1978, because you're not going to get that anymore. Go in a completely different direction, and maybe you can fucking spark life in this franchise again. I'm going to give Halloween Ends 1 star. So yeah, it was not good. It was really bad. I wouldn't waste my time on it, but let me know what you guys think. I could be wrong on this, but generally speaking from the fucking audience reactions, I'm not. Whatever it is, leave your thoughts down below. Love to get the feedback. Thank you guys so much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon, and I will talk to y'all next time.